what we are going to see in month of July this year, it might be rolling over in the upcoming months, or it might be going to be complete and it will know moving further. So those current affairs in July, August and September month, especially in these 3-4 months, anything which is going to be there but finally going to be finished, then it is not going to be in the news. Fine. What it means that, for example, one case went to the Supreme Court where Tamil Nadu government have asked to revoke the judgment of Madras High Court, and the judgment is related to a person have converted to the Islam, fine, and he belongs to backward community. So now he converted to the Islam and he is still requesting for his backward class certificate. Now Madras High Court said that no, you no longer belongs to the backward community, you have converted your religion, and that is why that certificate cannot be granted. Fine. Now this matter is being appealed at where? Supreme Court. By whom? State government, against the order of High Court. Now this matter is going to be a recurring matter. Why? Now the appeals is filed, fine, in the Supreme Court. Now hearing will happen, and in that hearing certain things are going to be discussed. Most important question in this regard is whether by changing religion, person's socio-economic status also changed. So a person can be denied for his certificate of backward community because the person have changed the religion. So changing the religion is going to elevate person's socio-economic backwardness or not. This is one question. Other question is if it will be allowed to give certificate, even a person is going to convert the religion, then what is a guarantee it is not going to be misused? Fine. So when court is going to give her judgment, his judgment, Supreme Court, then in the judgment of the Supreme Court, these two matters are going to be definitely addressed. So you should follow this news. Why? Because it related to the secularism, it is related to the religious conversion, it is related to socio-economic status of a person. What is actually socio-economic status of a person, and in what context it will be considered as a changed, and in what context it cannot be considered as a changed. So if a person have changed the religion, so in such case state should accept is the person's not only religious identity but person's socio-economic identity is also being changed and uplifted. So he no longer or she no longer need a reservation. Fine. So such topics are rollover topic, and they have much significance, and which is going to be forward and forward and forward. Now see the close topic. In June, Maharashtra government have announced proposed change in RTI Act. Fine. RTI Act, Right to Information Act, allows both center as well as state to make necessary changes in the guidelines. Fine. In the guidelines for approaching to the authorities for information. Fine. So by using this power given in the RTI Act, Maharashtra state government have issued certain guidelines. And civil society, especially the activist Anna Hazare, have taken a front against that government proposal. And he said that his government is not going to roll over this proposed amendment. Fine. Then he is going to sit on indefinite hunger strike. Now Maharashtra government have stayed its order to implement those those amendments in the RTI. Now this matter is closed. So July, August, September, October, usually something which appear in the news, fine, it may carry forward for 4-5 months. So how I will get this news is an important news and this news is not an important news, because newspaper is full of news. So how to get to know that this news is having significance or importance from the exam point of view. Okay. So if any news is getting roll over, fine, for 3-4 months, something appeared in July. Now, same thing you are going to see in the month of August, September again, or it is continuously in the news. That is an important news. Fine, that is an important news. And I will also like to tell you that those people who dependent on magazine, fine, those people who dependent on magazine, and magazine is going to give you 100 to 120 pages. That is not enough. I don't know how people find that it is worth, because I have just prepared only polity topic, only polity, law and governance topic, and all important matter from 1st of July to 12th of July. 1st of July till then 12th of July today. And I have 30 pages. 30 pages. And only for how many days? 1 week, 12 days. So I have 30 pages. But yes, what I have did, I have added prelims points and mains points also. Though last time I have told that I will share, I have not shared. Fine. I know this is going to come to me, but I have two things. First, I'm genuinely sorry for that I have not shared. But second thing, I also realized that the June current affairs is no longer going to be in your use. But July onwards, it is having the significance. So July 1st to July 12th, I have compiled, I have already sent to the team for the purpose of necessary editing, and they will edit it and convert it in the PDF. All the students who belongs to any batch, in their batch, that PDF will be shared in their WhatsApp group. Fine. Those students who watch online only and they are not academy students and they have not access to any WhatsApp group, then once this live video will be converted and it will be uploaded, PDF will be uploaded there also. So I have already given. Fine. So this is not just telling you that I will share. I have already shared. Fine. So I have already shared for polity part 1. I have went for 2 parts. Fine. And my modus of operandi is that I have mentioned the news, then the key points of that news, then prelims point and mains point. How that news is relevant for the mains purpose, how that news is relevant for the prelims exam purpose. Remember that the mains aspect is more important than prelims aspect, because all the prelims aspect can be automatically going to be covered while writing in the mains part. Acha, before moving ahead with respect to our first news, I would like to tell everyone who is listening my words right now or in the future, whenever you are going to appear in the civil services preparation. See, usually people sometimes say that this is prelims and this is mains. Fine. There is nothing like something is prelims and something is mains. It is always mains. And mains automatically covers your prelims. Entire prelims it will cover. How? I will prove this point, how entire prelims is covered under the mains. Usually, when people write the answers, fine, people are going to write the answer. So what they do, they usually start with the introduction part. They start with intro, then body of the answer, and then way forward if required. If question demand way forward, then conclusion. Fine, conclusion. When you write an answer, usually this part, body and way forward, is in heading and points form. Give a heading, then mention a point. But one more very important thing on which you are going to get a marks. If you have did this work, maybe you will still get only 2 to 3 marks out of 10. Intro, heading, point, supporting, example, or case study, of Supreme Court. Fine, case study of the Supreme Court means something case related to the Supreme Court, or report of committee, commission, fine, or finding by international organization like IMF, World Bank, fine, or report release by GOI, fine. So if you are not going to do this work, for example, if it is a 10 marker, so 3 headings supported by 3 points, or 1 heading supported by 1, 2, and 3, or 4 or 5 points. Each and every point must be supported by relevant data and fact. And this relevant data and fact, what you are going to prepare here with your conceptual understanding, it is going to be called as prelims part. Fine. So all the data and facts which you are gathering and you are connecting with the conceptual part, analysis part, then it is a proper mains answer. Mains answer is going to fetch you 50-55% marks only when this part will be there. If your points are not being supported by relevant facts and figures, you will not get a good marks. You will end up by getting only 20 to 30% marks. Maximum 3 marks out of 10. But if you will mention this, then definitely you are going to get a 4.5 or 5, and if you have did very well, then you are going to get even 6. Rare case 6. 5.5 again little bit rare case, but still you can reach. So there is nothing like a separate prelims preparation. Separate prelims preparation always happen from February, March, April, and few days of May, where you are going to solve as many as question paper in a practice mode and test mode. Practice mode means I will see the question, I will try to solve it. If I am not able to solve it, I will mark it as a deficiency in my preparation of that subject and that topic and that subtopic, and then I will solve that question. After solving that question, immediately I will open my notes and I will mention that thing which I am missing in the test paper. So that is called practice mode. Fine. That is called practice mode for the exam. When I will sit in the test mode, strictly in the UPSC time, if UPSC is conducting the GS paper from 9 to 11, so I will sit in that session 9 to 11 in the morning and I will solve the 100 questions in a given time. And I will see that how many questions I was able to attempt, how many questions I was not able to attempt, how many questions which I have attempted went right, and how many questions went wrong, and if wrong, for what reasons. Fine. And that analysis I will implement in my day-to-day revision and practice. Fine. So this is called practice mode and test mode. And that works in the prelims exam. For mains, you have to read, revise, and do practice. And it is not required you are going to write after every day. Fine. At the end of the day. Prepare well, then write. Prepare well, then write. By the month of October, November, and December, then you should increase your intensity. Write at least 3 to 4 questions on daily basis. As of right now, in the month of July, August, and September, especially in these 3 months, your focus should be on writing in the correct manner, in the correct way, rather than going for what? Rather than going for maximizing number of the questions. And writing in the correct way, these are very important part. And this you can also consider as a prelims. So this is why in the notes, what I have did, I have went for 2 sections. One is a prelims pointer and other is a mains related debatable issue. Fine, mains related debatable issue I have divided. So somewhere around 30 to 35 news related to the polity, means by the month end, we are going to have polity related somewhere around 35 to 40 topics. When we go in the month of August, that 30 to 40 topics, majority of them you are going to find it rollover. Fine, rollover. So once the rollover will be there, then automatically it will be kind of a revision for you. It will be a revision for you. For example, in today's this current affairs file, I have mentioned one news related to digital constitutionalism. Digital constitutionalism, and one more news related to use of AI in the judicial work. So I still remember in the previous class of mine, I have discussed about how judges or courts are rejecting usage of AI in the judicial work. Fine, I have mentioned this. But again, Supreme Court have retreated the same thing into NCLAT case, National Company Law Tribunal case. Last time it was by a judicial officer. What he did, he used the artificial intelligence in order to prepare the judgment. And Supreme Court was very strict on that matter, and they have issued the guidelines. In what cases you can use AI, in what cases you cannot use AI. Now again this issue came. Now this time this issue is coming from where? This time this issue is coming from National Company Law Tribunal and National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. So first case went to where? National Company Law Tribunal. They said that you can use it. Fine. Then case went to National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. Fine. So in India, to resolve a kind of a matter which is related to the business conflicts, we do have Company Law Tribunal. Fine. So Company Law Tribunal is going to see those matters which are related to business and finance of a company. Fine. Once this matter is being listened by Company Law Tribunal, fine, NCLAT, National Company Law Tribunal, the matter referred to it, it is going to provide its judgment. Once the judgment is being given, you can challenge this judgment to National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. Fine. And then you can reach where? Then you can reach at Supreme Court. So matter finally reached to where? Supreme Court, and Supreme Court again says that the use of AI in the judicial work is strictly prohibited. You can use at where? Judicial administrative work. Administrative work you can use. But for the judicial pronouncement, judicial activities, you should not use the AI. So this matter is rolled over. Fine? Rolled over. So of course, there are many news we are going to have again and again. And by the month of September, if something is still rollovering, fine, that means it is a high possibility issue for upcoming exam. I will not say prelims. I'll say exam which is relevant for prelims exam as well as mains exam. Fine. So whenever you read the topic, fine, both angles should be in your mind. Prelims point of view, factual information, concept. Fine. Mains, factual information and concept for which part? This part. And the analysis which you are going to mention in the heading and points. So mains comprise both prelims part as well as mains part. So whenever you read something, have both things in your mind. Understood? Now write a heading. Privileged notice in Parliament. Privileged notice in Parliament. Privileged notice in Parliament. Now understand the context. Fine. A parliamentary committee. Do not write, first understand. See, a parliamentary committee headed by Mr. K. Venugopal of Indian National Congress, fine, Congress Party, he have issued a privilege notice to defense minister. Right? Why he have issued the privilege notice to defense minister? He said that the minister in the House of Parliament have made a statement regarding people who lost their life in the Operation Sindoor. And in that, he also have commented how many of our soldiers martyred during the Operation Sindoor. Fine? He made one statement. But now, after 1 year, when the defense forces have mentioned about the personnel who died and they have went for supreme sacrifice for the nation, the number given by whom? The number given by the armed forces is in contrasting difference from the statement given by whom? Minister. So minister's statement in the parliament is a statement of the government, and he have alleged that minister is misleading to the parliament, and that matter need to be investigated, and for that we will issue a privilege notice. You have breached the privilege given to you as a minister. So that matter might be related to government versus opposition, but it is going to give a proper treat to UPSC. Okay, we have one more topic to make question. So for entire year they will list it. This can be taken as a question. This can be taken as a question. This can be taken as a question. Might be question they will take it or not, but at least they should have at least good number of the topics, at least 250 themes in the polity they should have. Fine. So they should have 250 themes with respect to the polity, out of which suppose they are going to ask either 3-4 questions, or maybe they are going to ask 24 questions. Fine. So for that purpose, they got one theme related to what? Parliamentary privileges. So what are the parliamentary privileges and parliamentary notice? Just please write it down and I'll explain also. Right. A privilege notice is a formal written complaint. A privilege notice is a formal written complaint filed by member of parliament. Filed by member of parliament before the presiding officer of the house. For breach of parliamentary privileges. Breach of parliamentary privileges or contempt of the house. Breach of parliamentary privileges or contempt of the house has been committed. Contempt of the house has been committed. Now give a heading: Constitutional Foundation. Constitutional Foundation. 4 articles are important with respect to parliamentary privileges. Fine. Right. Article 105. Article 105. It tells about powers, privileges. It tells about powers, privileges, and immunities. And immunities of Parliament. Immunities of Parliament and its member. And its member. So remember that. Power, privileges, and immunities. Fine. Immunities do not only belongs to whom? The member of the parliament. It also belongs to parliament itself. Usually the popular or logical perception in the mind of the people is only members of the house have this. House for house, there is no mention of the immunities. But power, privileges, immunities are mentioned for both whom? Members as well as the house. Which article? 105. Now write one more. 194. 194. Same of Article 105 for state legislature and their members. Same provisions as of Article 105 Same provision as of Article 105, but for state legislature and their members. Okay. Now write one more. Article 122. Article 122 bars codes from bars codes BARS bar codes from questioning the validity of proceedings in the parliament. Now tell me one thing, parliament have how many parts? How many parts are the parliament in India? 2 or 3? 3, not 2. 3. What are 3 parts? President, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha in the correct order. So Article 105 says that privileges, power and immunity of Parliament and its members. Parliament and its members. So my question to you is, if the privileges apply to Parliament as well as its members, so means these privileges shall be extended to President or not? Because President is also part of Parliament and Parliament have privileges. So those privileges are going to give into Parliament. They will applicable to whom? President. Yes or no? No. President is precisely excluded from Article 105. And that is why there is, listen, I'll make you right. Listen carefully. There is a explicitly one article dedicated for privileges for whom? President. Why? Because President is excluded from parliamentary privileges. So remember this fact. What fact? President do not have an access to parliamentary privileges mentioned in Article 105. Okay? It is not applicable to whom? President of India. For President of India, Article 361. Right. Article 361 provides separate privileges. For President. Who is not excluded in parliamentary privileges under Article 105. Under Article 105. And just write note here. Article 361 grants President of India and state governors absolute immunity. Underline this word, absolute immunity from legal action for their official acts and duties. Right further, during their term, they are shielded from all all criminal proceedings, comma, arrest warrants, and imprisonment orders. Right, further, civil proceedings. Before that, all criminal, you have wrote now, all criminal, underline it. All criminal proceedings, underline this. All criminal proceedings, underline this. Now write civil proceedings, underline this also. Civil proceedings, underline this. For personal act are only permissible after a mandatory 2-month written notice. After a mandatory 2-month written notice. Right? Further, one more point in this note. The protection applies, above protection applies strictly during their term in the office. They can be held liable for personal or illegal acts committed outside of their official duty. After stepping down. Fine. Now this note is over. Now write in the next line. You can put that note in the box. Fine. Put that note in the box regarding whom? President's privilege. Okay. Now write Article 105. Article 105 explicitly guarantee two privileges. Freedom of speech in Parliament. And immunity of MPs. From court proceeding. For anything said or any vote given in the Parliament. Now write the next point. The original 1950 Constitution. Directly imported UK House of Commons privileges. In wholesale. The 44th Constitutional Amendment. Changed the clause 3. Of Article 105 and says that privileges shall be right in the inverted commas as many may be defined by parliament by law. Right further, and until so defined, comma, shall be those of the house, immediately before the coming into force, of 44th amendment, inverted comma close. Fine. So see, in India, parliamentary privileges do exist, but these parliamentary privileges never been codified. Fine. So what are the parliamentary privileges? We have directly seen the parliamentary privileges of House of Commons of the Britain, and what parliamentary privileges they do have. Indian Parliament also called it, these are our privileges. Fine, these are our privileges. Indian Parliament have never made any law which codifies the privileges. Now see what happened actually. When we are making this Article 105, in that there is a mention of privileges. Article 105 clause 1 mentions the privileges. But what are those privileges? So Constitution says that those privileges which is actually given to whom? House of Commons member, the same amount of privileges we are going to define as a privileges. Fine. So the definition of the privilege in India is based on the definition of privilege at where? UK. Now 44th Constitution Amendment have made this thing. The parliamentary privilege must be defined by whom? Parliament. And till then Parliament is not going to define privileges. Fine. Till then Parliament is not going to define the privileges. What privileges are being before this amendment, that will be remain applicable. So the Constitution Amendment number 44 is one of the most important amendment along with Article 40, Amendment 42. So usually what students will do, students will read amendment number 42, 42nd amendment, which is called as mini constitution. But if you will read 42 and 44 together, fine, then you will get a better, broader picture what was being attempted in 42 and what is being nullified in 44 and what carry forward even after 44. So 42 was an attempt to make big bang changes. Fine, and that is why it is regarded as a mini constitution. Fine, but those big bang changes which were being inserted in 42, many of them were rolled back, changed, edited or deleted under which 44. Fine, but not all. Certain things went what? Carry forwarded even after 44. So if you want to understand 42 properly, then you must read along with what? 44. Then you will get a clearer picture what was being attempted and what has been resolved. And you are going to have a greater understanding about the questions which is going to be framed by the UPSC in the context of 42nd or 44th amendment. Okay, so keep this thing in the mind. So 44th amendment have tried to identify parliamentary privileges. Fine. So privilege is like a member's certain special rights which cannot be breached. Fine. So being as a member, you want minimum rights or you want maximum rights? Maximum rights. Fine. Maximum rights. But maximum right is going to be considered by a public कि you are trying to evade a common man treatment. Means Article 14, equality before law. So privileges are going to give you status to be a privileged person, and you are going to above what? Equality and above law. So if you are going to extend too much privileges, public will consider that these are illegitimate and they are just trying to save themselves from the wrongdoing. So this is why there is a debate that what should be included in privileges and what should not be included in the privileges. Parliamentarians never came to one conclusion, and that is why India was never able to codify its own parliamentary privileges. तो वहां पे एक लाइन में mention कर लो, just mention there. India has never codified parliamentary privileges in a single comprehensive statute. India has never codified parliamentary privileges into a single comprehensive statute. STATUTE. Now give heading, what is breach of privilege? What is breach of privilege? It includes number one, misleading the house by withholding facts. Misleading the house by withholding facts or distorting existing facts or false information in parliament. Number two, obstructing an MP in discharging his parliamentary duties. Discharging his parliamentary duties. So if MP is on way, member of parliament is on way to the House of Parliament, and if you are going to stop him, fine, by as any authority or someone, it will be considered as a breach of privilege of the member. Fine. Remember that privileges are of two. One is for the individual and other is collective for entire parliament. So if you are going to breach or if you are going to create a hurdle for any member, then you will be considered as a breach of the privileges. Right? One more. Publishing distorted or misinterpreted information of parliamentary proceeding. Next, threatening or intimidating. A member for action threatening or intimidating a member for action taken in parliament. One more. Any act that lowers the authority, any act that lowers the authority or dignity of the house, authority or dignity of the house, termed as contempt of the house, termed as contempt of the house. Now, right, the breach of parliamentary privilege may lead to privilege notice, may lead to privilege notice. The privilege notice is governed, under rule number 222, under rule number 222 of rules of procedure and conduct, rules of procedure and conduct of business, rule of procedure and conduct of business in Lok Sabha, and rule 187 for Rajya Sabha, and rule 187 for Rajya Sabha. The process have 5 steps. The process have 5 steps. Step number 1, submission of notice. Step number 1, submission of the notice. Number 2, conditions of admissibility. Conditions of admissibility, where presiding officer followed 2 rules, that is specific matter of recent occurrence, and requires intervention of the house, Fine. So if question will come, is parliamentary privileges is backed by law? Answer is yes. Are they codified into a single law? No, they are not codified in a single law. They are mentioned at different places in the different context, but they are not being codified. For your context to understand, so for example, GST, goods and services tax. So what goods and services tax? It has codified entire indirect taxes into a single law. So when any law have provisions in the different area and they're dispersed, fine, and we are going to put all those dispersed laws at one place, the process is called as codification, fine. So that is called codification, like criminal procedure code, BNS. So all those things we have mentioned at one place, the process is called as codification, fine. So in India, parliamentary privileges are still not codified, but it doesn't mean that they are not backed by a law. They are backed by a law and they are properly mentioned in the process of business of both houses. Rule 222 in Lok Sabha and rule number 187 in the Rajya Sabha. And under those rules, there are the 5-step process. Step number 1, where the person who feels that it is a breach of privilege, he can prepare a complaint, and the complaint should be submitted to whom? The presiding member of the house. So if member belongs to Lok Sabha, fine, members belongs to Lok Sabha, and you are supposed to be a member of Rajya Sabha, and you feel that it is not right. So where you will submit your complaint? To Lok Sabha Speaker or Rajya Sabha Chairman? You are from Rajya Sabha. Fine. Suppose Mr. Venugopal is from Rajya Sabha. Suppose, fine, he's from Rajya Sabha, and he feels that a defense minister have breached the privilege, or any member of the Lok Sabha have breached the privilege. So where he is going to submit his notice? To Rajya Sabha Chairman or Lok Sabha Speaker? Huh? He is going to submit to Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, because privilege, in the case of breach of privilege, it is going to whom? It is going to the Deputy Chairman, and then he is going to see that. Fine. So in your house you are going to submit, and then the presiding person is going to check it. Fine. In the case of Lok Sabha, fine, then you have to submit to whom? Lok Sabha Speaker. Fine. So Lok Sabha Speaker is going to see that matter. By seeing that matter, first of all, the conditions are there. Condition number one. Condition number one is, before accepting that notice by the member, Speaker or the presiding officer must see that it is admissible or not. And the two grounds are admissibility. Fine. Whether I have to accept it or not. Scrutiny, I will do it later. The scrutiny will help later. But two conditions should be there. One, about recent event. You should not come to the member and you say that there was a member in 1989 and he made a false statement. Though he is no more, but I still want to resolve this matter. Or you are going to take a statement given by some member of the parliament 10 years back. He is no more member of the parliament. And you are asking ki privilege notice I want. Again, it will be rejected. Matter should be recent one. Number two, matter need a discussion at where? Parliament. So if matter do not fit to this second criteria, again matter will be rejected. And here the discretion of the presiding officer is absolute in the nature. He can accept it or he can reject it by saying that it do not fulfill the second criteria. Fine. Or even first criteria. But if he will accept, fine. If he will accept, then it have to go for third step, right? Right, the third step. The first tier scrutiny. The first tier scrutiny by presiding officer. By presiding officer. By presiding officer. One correction, like even the Rajya Sabha, it is not deputy chairman, it is chairman only. Privilege committee is going to be nominated by deputy chairman, which I will make you write. Just remember that in the Lok Sabha, presiding officer, whom? To go to whom? Speaker of the Lok Sabha. In Rajya Sabha, it will go to the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Right there. First tier scrutiny by the presiding officer, and they will examine whether a prima facie, P-R-I-M-A, prima facie, F-A-C-I-E, prima facie, that is a first sight. Fine, prima facie means a first sight. Case of breach of privilege exists. Case of breach of privilege exists. Or not. If admitted, Fine. If admitted, now write step 4. Step 4, leave of the house. Leave of the house. Step 4, leave of the house. If objection to leave is taken, if objection to leave is taken, the presiding officer calls for show of the hands. Show of the hands. For example, in Rajya Sabha, 25 members should raise the hand. Minimum 25 members should raise the hand for granting the leave. Granting the leave. If not, notice will be lapsed. If not, notice will be lapsed. If accepted, it proceeds to step number 5. Now step number 5, referral or direct decision. Presiding officer can take his or her decision on the floor itself, or matter will be referred to committee of privilege. Committee of privilege. Underline this, committee of privilege or committee of privileges. Committee of privileges of the House. Fine. Now write both houses having their standing committee on privileges, with semi-judicial function. In Lok Sabha, it has 15 member. Headed by a speaker who nominates chairperson. And have 15 members. In case of Rajya Sabha, it has 10 members. And headed by deputy chairman. Now write a difference between privileged notice and privileged motion. Number 1, privileged notice is an initial stage of written complaint filed with presiding officer. Initial stage of complaint filed with presiding officer. Whereas privilege motion only when it is accepted by the presiding officer. So please be careful. In the exam, they are asking for privilege motion or they are asking for privilege notice. Because while seeing the privilege, you will get extra joyful because you have studied few days back. Fine. And that extra joy will be converted into extraordinary tragedy. Fine. So be patient. Fine. Even you have studied something, especially then be patient more, because when you, for example, do you know that like most of the people who try to scale the Mount Everest, fine, majority of them who unfortunately lost their life, more than 60% who lost their life in their process of expediting to Mount Everest, they died not by ascending, they died while descending. Fatigue, carelessness, because you reach where very few humans have ever reached. So the sense of achievement. So what happens in the exam, how exam psychology works? Fine. The exam psychology works, especially when UPSC usually asks normal to easy question paper. Fine. So when candidates say that the question paper was easy, actually it was brutal. Fine. That is a silent slayer which is not going to create too much murmuring. What we have seen this year, for example, this year question paper was difficult. So a lot of murmuring happened. The day exam happened, from that day till then the day of the result, each and everyone is shouting, making noise on the paper, this, that, everything. Fine. But if UPSC is going to use the proper exam psychology properly, then it is going to be silent slayer. Paper appears very simple and easy, and it forced many of the candidates to attempt as many as questions. Usually 60-70 is a normal thing. People go for 100 out of 100. Fine. And finally turn how much? 30-40 marks. So one way is to push the candidate, make him happy, make him like defenseless. How? Ask the question on the common pitfalls. Fundamental rights, right to equality. Okay? Right to equality, fundamental rights, one of the formidable challenge for the civil services aspirant when they will read the polity. Fine. Too much concern about the fundamental rights case studies and questions being asked. And that is going to tempt you to attempt that question. And they will make sure you are going to fall in certain confusion. Like here, privilege notice versus privilege motion. So usually what happens if you have studied something and the very first prefix will come, you will automatically anticipate. Fine. You will automatically anticipate what next word will be there. Fine. It's a human brain's work. Fine. So like for example, that funky t-shirts. Fine. The funky t-shirts, lot of things are being written. Fine. Ab usne kya kiya? In the t-shirt he wrote FU. Public automatically assume what next word is going to be there. So this is how human mind works. And this is cleverly utilized by the people who set the question paper. They will give you prefix, find prefix knowledge, and you will commit yourself to, I'll go for it. Jai Mata Di. I'm going to do that. And here you are going to be exposed. Number one, be calm. Okay? Something you have read, it's fine. Read the statement word by word. Have a pencil in your hand, read one by one word, and then create a clearer picture in your mind. No over enthusiasm. Why I am too much emphasizing the over enthusiasm? See, if question is difficult, you will leave. You will get 0. Fine, you will get 0. But if you will attempt, fine, and you are going to make a mistake, fine. See, if the question is difficult, 100% 0 marks. the probability was 0 marks. But the moment you got attempt, now probability is what? Probability is either 2 or 0.66. Plus 2 or minus 0.66. Now probability is not 0. Either you are going to get a 2 marks or you are going to reduce what? 0.66 you are going to reduce. Fine. There are two probabilities. When the question is difficult, only one probability, 0, because you are going to skip it. So now here the high risk approach, either 2 or get what? Minus 0.66. Now what will happen? If you are not consolidated your concept and you are being more joyful and happy because you have find something which is you have read. So in that joy, you are going to make a mistake, and with that, there is a 75% probability to get what? Minus 0.66 and 25% probability to get how much? 2 marks. So if you have already crossed the cutoff in your category and you are comfortable, then do not go for such questions where you are not very sure. Fine, do not go for that, because it is going to convert into a huge loss. And especially this type of the question where you are having faded memories. People these days call as my gut feeling saying that. So gut feeling kuch bhi nahi hota, sara brain hota hai. Everything is brain, and brain is giving the signal to what? Gut and any part of the body. So if your brain is getting fainted and the blind spot came, you are not able to recall the information beyond the prefix. Don't go for it if you are already comfortably crossing the boundary line. If it is a life and death case, fine. So prefer to try to live by defying the death. Understood? So if you are below the cutoff, then you do not have a choice. Take your chance, go for it. At least you have made an effort, but not reckless one. कि कुछ भी कर रहा है, अक्कड़ बक्कड़ बम्बे बोल, सी पे आया तो सी पे लगा दिया. No, not in that way. Eliminate at least 2. Until unless you are not able to eliminate 2, there is never a probability to get a marks. Fine. Now, if you are able to eliminate 2, now 2 are left. Before going for this question, you are having 75% probability of incorrect and 25% probability of making correct. Now you have eliminated 2. Now your probability of getting the right 2 marks is increased to 50% from 25%. तो पूरा कैलकुलेशन होता है, मैथमेटिक्स होता है, एनालिसिस होता है. So analysis, mathematics, calculations that work and that mean going to make person name 6 digits in the prelims result going to be declared on 10th or 12th of July. Usually, fine. Sometimes 15th or 6th, 17th of July. But usually in the second week of the July, you are going to find your roll number mentioned at where? Mention the UPSC result, and by God, the first time you are going to see your roll number, you want to publish here. I am also an achiever. I am telling you seriously, the first time you are going to find your roll number, doesn't matter how much confident you are. Before the result, everyone shakes. Fine. And the moment you are going to find yourself in that list of 9,000, somewhere around 800 candidates, fine, appeared 6.8 lakhs. And you have won and you reach to that list, that is also a sense of achievement. And that is going to give you like power punch, a boost of the confidence. Fine. So even if you are not very hopeful for clearing the mains, I still insist the students go for the prelims. Fine, go for the prelims, because the kind of the confidence you are going to gain to clear the prelims, fine, is going to work as a force multiplier in your next odyssey of this civil services. Fine. So at this point of time, all of you who are thinking about the skipping the 27 attempt, remove that idea, drop that idea in the Godavari, fine, and then come back and prepare for what? Prepare for your 2027 serious attempt. If your optional is not over, it's fine, but if you are able to finish your optional by December this year, then you must go for attempt in 2027. Even 6 attempts are more than enough. After 4th, people get exhausted. Fine. Beyond that, usually people do not have a capacity, to be very honest. Even if you have, it's going to be a opportunity cost loss. Why? 6 attempts means you have to reach, if you have started at 21, 22, you have to go to 28, 29, or even 30. Fine. Maybe you have taken a drop in between. So in 6 attempts, usually people take 1 drop. Fine. So that 6 years will turn into 7 years. And here people make mistake. 1 attempt is not 1 year actually. 1 attempt is 18 months. Notification will come January end or February first week. So February, then prelims happen in May. Fine. Mains happen in August. Fine. Interview starts in December. December, last week. Fine. They'll start the interview. They will go to till then March. Fine. Interview will go to the March. So notification came at where? 2026 February. So 2026 February, and the final result will be declared by the UPSC in the April last week. So it is going to take 15 months minimum. So 1 attempt is going to take how many months? 15 months. Fine. 6 attempts. 6 attempts. How many months? 90 months. Divided by 12. How many years? How many years? 7 point something. So this is what in between, if you have taken 1 year drop, then the process is going to be of 9 years completely. So you started as a young and you retired as a old. Fine. So that 10 years, 20 to 30, they are the most productive part of your life. So plan it properly. 4 or 5 years I have fixed for my civil services preparation. I'll give my 100% that in case of, unfortunately, if I'm not going to clear, then I am going to make my decisions. So remember that any plan should have 2 things: entry as well as exit. Why most of the plans fail? Why your most of the time schedule fails? Because you do not have an exit plan. Aap exit plan hai nahi wahan par. If not happen, then I will do what? So when you are planning, make sure you have put a what? Exit route. If it will not happen, then what I will do? It's a very important term in the finances. Those people who put their money in the risky assets. Fine, gold price is rising. Thoda aur rise hone do. Rising. Thoda aur rise hone do. Okay? Rising. Thoda aur rise hone do. Next day you woke up in the morning and it went drop. So here, once it reached there, so the finest investors, they have their cutoff point. If the asset value is going to rise by 11% or 12%, 13%, moment it is going to cross 13%, withdraw. Because it is threshold. Beyond that, it is going to make my investment too risky. And similarly, they have downturn also. So asset is lying at 7%, 8% returns. Fine. So you have invested somewhere, it is giving you 8% return, sometimes 9%, sometimes 7%, 7.5%. In this way, it is giving the return. So he has set the upper limit as the lower limit both. So if the investment go below 7.5% or 7%, I will withdraw from this asset and I will invest somewhere else. Similarly, if it is going to breach 14%, I will also withdraw. And public are like, yeah, it is rising. He said, fine, I know it's rising, but not rising for long. And because the day it is going to drop from 18%, it will drop to 6%. So I'm not going to take the risk. So do this calculation. Make your day-to-day business means your process with proper analysis and doing this thing. Understood? So आपका plan 27 के लिए proper होना चाहिए. Fine. Now this privilege motion is being discussed. So remember that privilege motion and privilege notice, they are 2 different aspects. And what is the context? Context is Mr. Rajnath Singh, who's a defense minister. Against him, Mr. Venugopal want a privilege notice because he have made a statement in the parliament with respect to the martyrs in the Operation Sindoor, which opposition feels that it is not matching with the numbers given by the armed forces. Okay, and remember that why I have discussed this point in the detail, though you may find that topic is related to the polity, but I have discussed because this is continuously in the news. This matter is a rollover issue, and you will find, if I'll tell you data which need not to be written by you, but 2024 April, then again 2024 September, then again 2025 February, then again 2025 March, then again in 2025 December, now in 2026. So this privileged motion and privileged matter is consistently in what? Rolling over the fact, rolling over the news. So please make sure you are going to have a close look on such matter. So I have put all those things in one place, right? Now write the next point. Next news. Maharashtra proposed domicile proof. Maharashtra proposed domicile proof for driving license. Domicile proof for driving license. Right. A driving license is governed principally by Central Motor Vehicle Act 1988 and its rule. Residence verification, right in the same. A driving license is governed principally by the Central Motor Vehicle Act 1988 and its rule. Full stop, right further. Residence verification and a strict domicile requirement are not necessarily the same. Are not necessarily the same. Are not necessarily the same. Now, see why this matter is in the news, and it's a rollover issue. That's why I have mentioned, though it's a state-related news, but it has created wider context. You can write this issue, right? This issue can be correlated to portability of public services. Portability of public services, comma, risk of regional protectionism, and create an issue for internal migration. So see what happens, the entire case. The case basically coming from the Mumbai itself, Mumbai and other major cities of the Maharashtra. So like we do have in Hyderabad also bike taxis, fine, bike taxis. So in bike taxis, what is happening in especially in the city of Mumbai, now these days many of the people, they are preferring to go for bike taxi because they relatively, in comparison to the auto taxi, they are cheaper and they can reach easier, because two-wheeler can go in the dense traffic, three-wheeler and four-wheeler are going to face an issue. So these reasons are a reason why bike taxis are getting more popular. And because of the rising popularity of the bike taxis, the three-wheelers and four-wheeler taxis are losing the prominence in the market. So they have questioned the legitimacy of the bike taxis itself, because taxi means yellow number plate, two-wheeler, which is basically a what? A white number plate, an individual vehicle. So how an individual vehicle is going to be considered for this one? So this is one legal matter, fine, one legal matter where the law is silent. So that is why bike taxis are being running. There is no proper rule frame for that. So bike taxis are working. Now state have this power to ban this bike taxis. Fine. So now one more thing is there. Majority of the taxi union people, they believe that these people who are having this bike taxis, they are basically migrants from other state, and they are able to get taxi license not easily if they will apply for three-wheeler and the four-wheeler. So for three-wheeler and four-wheeler, you are going to apply for a yellow number plate. You have to pay the taxes and all. Whereas for the bike, which maybe you have purchased for your personal usage purpose without paying the extra taxes, another thing for the commercial usage, you are using this one. And for commercial usage of anything, state may implement the domicile requirement, commercial usage in that state. Now, state of Maharashtra, after considering this factor and found that it might be Marathi versus other language thing, so state government have issued this direction कि from now onwards, from August 1st onwards, you need to provide what? You need to provide also a domicile. Means a person who is looking for having a driving license in the Mumbai, he should be a resident of Maharashtra. Fine. But Motor Vehicle Act do not explicitly mention that it is mandatory. State can implement this thing for the verification purpose, but verification purpose is not necessarily related to what? Not necessarily related to with the domicile condition. So now state have issued this order, but that order can be properly challenged at where? High Court and then Supreme Court if the High Court is going to give an adverse judgment. Why? Because against the state you can go to constitutional courts in India. They are High Court and Supreme Court. So this matter may be go to whom? High Court. And if High Court is going to do the favor or against, so how this favor or against is going to be matter for domicile related requirement. And if domicile is not there, that means you are not going to get all those public deliveries. Public deliveries of what? You are not going to get a public deliveries of the social services. So suppose if you are from Hyderabad, fine, and you are getting certain benefits from the government of India or state government of the Telangana, especially state government, especially government of India. Now for study purpose or for some work purpose, you reached where? You went to Maharashtra for 3-4 months or any other state for at least 2 years. You are temporary resident because you are doing your graduation or post-graduation and you want a continuous support, fine. But because you are no more resident at where? Telangana, you went to temporary registration at where? You went for temporary registration at where? Maharashtra or any other state. Now you want port your services from the state of Telangana to state of Maharashtra. But now if the Maharashtra will say that no, you have to provide a domicile, and you do not want to have a domicile because you are here only for the study purpose or for temporary purpose, for example, banking people. So those who are working in a bank. So if you are working in a bank, okay, as per the rule, now what is going to happen with the rule? If you are working in a bank and you got posted at where? You got posted at Mumbai or somewhere in Maharashtra, and now you are thinking about let's have a driving license because I want to purchase a car. So now you will apply the driving license in Maharashtra. Maharashtra will say that provide what? A domicile. A bank employee cannot have a domicile because after 3-4 years they are going to have a transfer and posting. That is mandatory. Fine, that is mandatory. You have to go. Fine. So how they are going to have this thing? And in this regard, that is why, for example, for these kind of employees, government have introduced a BH number, Bharat series number. Fine. So Bharat series number. So Bharat series number is for which employees? Central government employees or any person whose job is more than 4 states. Fine. So if you are working even in a private sector, fine. If you are working even in a private sector and your office have 4 different state locations, you can apply for which number? BH number. So it allows a portability for those people who are working in the different states. Otherwise, it is going to be a great problem for the people who are having a transfer posting. Army people. Fine. Army people are going to be posted from different places, Navy, Air Force people. So for them, that means they do not purchase the vehicle, or they should not have a driving license. Till then, they are going to be retired and settle in their home state. Fine. So domicile is going to create a problem. But at the same time, domicile is also going to help to the state to identify who is there for the commercial purpose and who is there for normal individual purpose. So this is going to be a matter of debate in the upcoming months at where, especially in High Court, because migrant laborers are in very huge number in cities like Mumbai, even Pune and Thane. Fine, so these are the one of the highest internal migration cities. Pune, if you see the internal migration, fine. So Maharashtra, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, they attract huge number of internal migration, especially from northern states. Fine, Bangalore also. So these are the urban centers where we can see the migration is happening. Fine, and in the distress conditions, that migration went reverse. So that is called reverse migration. Reverse migration means from urban to rural. So urban to rural migration is always good or always bad? Migration from urban to rural area is always good or always bad? It depends. On what it depends? On what it depends? Needs? See, always remember that reality exists between extremes. Fine? So extremes are usually not a reality. Here again, if you see this case, internal migration is always good? No. Internal migration is always bad? No. Why internal migration is not always good? Fine? Not always good during the COVID. Majority of the people have what? Many of the people have went for long march on foot. 2,100 kilometers, 3,000 kilometers, they have went for on foot from one place to another place because all the transportation services are not available and they cannot afford to charter plane. Fine. So they start marching on foot. So that was a bad example of reverse migration. Now the reverse migration, which is urban to rural, the good example. When the rural areas are going to provide sufficient income sources and people can rely on those income sources on a permanent basis, then they will also go for what? Reverse migration. An example in this regard? An example in this regard? 𝐃𝐨𝐰𝐧𝐥𝐨𝐚𝐝 and earlier what? Earlier Manrega. So Manrega was a reason where many of the migrant laborers who are going to different states for the work, especially for very kind of the blue collar job, they start finding the work at their own state, and that led to a huge number of reverse migration in India. So examples ko dekha karo, connect kiya karo, try to connect the example with concepts. Fine. So if a survey, fine, National Family and Health Survey, NFHS survey, fine, or periodic labor force survey, if such surveys are mentioning that India have started seeing the reverse migration as a normal trend, not due to the distress, but because of the improving rural consumption. Ab dekho, rural consumption, see the rural consumption. If the rural consumption is going to rise, that means the prosperity is coming at where? The rural area. So if the prosperity is coming to the rural area, that means rural area is able to generate the income. And if the rural area will start generating good income, so those people who went to rural to urban area for search for employment, they'll start migrating back to their rural areas. And that is a good example of reverse migration. Fine. Now, see, when rural consumption will increase, what is the main activity of the rural area? Agriculture. So if agriculture is going to improve, then urban consumption is going to improve. Urban consumption improve means urban income, rural consumption is going to increase means rural income is also rising. Why? Agriculture is promising very well. So agriculture growth will lead to the rise in the income of the rural area, rise in the consumption of the rural area. That will lead to the reverse migration from urban areas to which area? Rural area. So a focus on agriculture will lead to the development of new urban centers in the country, and it will lead to healthy reverse migration. See, so you can connect which topic? Agriculture. Agriculture, rural consumption, rural income, then reverse migration, and all these things. Now, the migration, whenever the migration happens, there is a biggest difficulty for poor people because they have to register in that particular state in order to get the services from the central government, especially. So central government, for example, provided food grains. So that food grains, you can get that food grains from the PDS shop, fair price shop, fine. And for that purpose, you have to register there. So if you are going to migrate from one place to another place consistently, then you have to go for a portability. Please port this service from this area to another area. And if state is going to insist, you have to present what? Domicile, otherwise you will not provide. For example, gas connection. So for gas connection, you must provide what? You must provide the domicile. Otherwise, they will not port. I know this very well, right? Migrated from Delhi to Hyderabad. Fine. So they said that until unless we are not going to have a domicile proof. I said, what domicile proof you want? He said that at least rent agreement. Rent agreement you should provide so that your place of residence at where? At Hyderabad will be accepted. Similarly for the GST, commercial purpose. So you should have what? Residential. But if I'm going to apply for driving license, fine, it is not mandatory. Why it is not mandatory? Because Motor Vehicle Act do not have the specific condition. But you might find that you went for the driving license and the authority is saying that provide me domicile. Why they ask for the domicile? For the verification purpose. Fine. They ask for the domicile to verification purpose, you reside here or not. Technically speaking, as per the law, it is not mandatory. The domicile is only for what purpose? Verification purpose. So verification purpose become easy if you are residing in that state. So usually they will say that ki Aadhaar card. Where is your Aadhaar card? Of which place? Delhi. No. You have to change it to where? Hyderabad in order to get what? In order to get the driving license. I said, okay, I'll do that. Then again, I will change to other place. Then what? He said, I don't know. Fine. You just have this domicile so that verification, if required, will be easy. Usually verification do not happens. Fine. Usually verification they do not do. But for the verification purpose, they want domicile. So law says that for verification purpose, you may request what? Domicile. But domicile should not be a precondition to generate a license. This is going to be discussed at where? In the upcoming case, State of Maharashtra versus any person who is going to file the charge. Any of you can also file if you want. But you do not belong to where? Maharashtra. So can you file that case in the Bombay High Court? Can you file that case in the Bombay High Court? Why not? Why not? Can you file a case in Telangana High Court regarding this Maharashtra case? No. High courts are having their territorial jurisdiction, number one. In that particular state, if you want to file a complaint, you must be a resident of that state. Fine. Example batata hu. Pawan Kheda. Before the Assam election, he made certain statement and Assam Chief Minister and his wife, they said that these are the defamatory statements. These are the defamatory statements and we want a case against him. Immediately, because he is a Chief Minister, immediately police have filed a FIR against him and lookout notice is being issued. When the lookout notice is being issued, fine, lookout notice issued and Pawan Kheda have resident in Delhi. But immediately he filed an application at where? Telangana High Court. Fine, he filed an application at Telangana High Court. So people got strange. Case is filed at where? At where? At Assam High Court in Assam. But he is filing anticipatory bail or bail at where? Telangana. How it is possible? Because as per the established document, his wife belongs to where? Telangana. His belongs to where? Telangana means she is a domicile of what? Telangana. So because of that, he is also domicile of Telangana. He have an Aadhaar card of Telangana. That means he can reach to the High Court to prevent any arrest. So Telangana High Court can take this case when the person who lives in Telangana is under any kind of possible arrest. So he reached to which court? he reached to the Telangana High Court. But before that, he actually went to the Supreme Court. Supreme said, no, go back to the High Court first. Fine, and I'll see the order of the High Court. So remember that for High Court's jurisdiction, it should be related to that state. Fine. But if it is related to that state and the constitution in the question, still High Court can listen. But if you're not satisfied with the High Court, you can go to where? Supreme Court. Understood the entire case? Now write the next. This is important. Digital rollout. Digital rollout. Next news. Digital rollout of criminal justice system. Digital rollout of the criminal justice system. Right. Union Home Ministry stated that the investigation and trial procedures under the new criminal law would move towards an end-to-end digital system by 1st January 2027. By 1st January 2027. It will lead to implementation of interoperable criminal justice system, ICJS, interoperable criminal justice system. Underline this term and write it about. What is ICJS? Interoperable criminal justice system. Right. Is a national digital platform. That connects all main IT system. Used by different pillars of criminal justice system. Which includes police, courts, prisons, forensics and prosecution. Police, courts, prison, forensic and prosecution. So that data flows seamlessly between them. Right. ICJS will integrate number 1, crime and criminal tracking network system. Crime and criminal tracking network system, CCTNS of police with e-courts, e-prisons, e-forensic and e-prosecution. Connects with e-courts, e-prison e-forensic, and small e. All these are small e. E-governance wala e. Fine. So prosecution, forensic labs, prisons, courts. It will connect it with what? It will connect it with the criminal crime and criminal tracking network system. Fine. The purpose is what? Something is updated. Fine. So now suppose a person who is under trial. Fine. Who is under trial, and court in next few days is going to pronounce a verdict, and he is keep pleading that I have never committed any crime after that. Fine. Though FIRs are filed against him, in the multiple FIRs is being filed in the different districts, but he is keep pleading to the court ki no, I have did this mistake first time, I have never did anything wrong, because he know that the data with the police reach to the court in the long time, and in which court, at where it is being there, it is going to be in other court or with the other judge. So who is going to know that? But once his FIR, the name is mentioned at where? In the e-system of the crime and criminal tracking network system. Once it will be reflected there, automatically it will be reflected at where? Court document also. So just thought that let's see this person is telling truth or not, because for past 6 years in different hearing he is claiming that I have never did anything wrong after that. But now once the system is updated, he saw that in his name 600 more kind of the complaints are there. So the punishment will be strict or punishment will be easy. Very strict punishment, because he is taking wrong oath in the courtroom. I have never did anything wrong after this and no complaint is registered against me after this. So this is how the criminal justice system is going to be overhauled. And remember that in India, 3-4 reforms are urgently required. One is agriculture sector reforms for the purpose of achieving the goal of Vikasit Bharat. But apart from that, the police reforms and the judicial reforms are also required. When it is about judiciary, that thing goes little bit more complex. Fine. Judicial reforms may include the appointment of judges, which is outrightly denied by Supreme Court in the NCJC judgment. Fine. National Judicial Council, they have rejected it. So where the scope of judicial reform exists? Administrative reform. Number of the courts, their proceedings, they are lengthier, where in Bollywood there is a film, fine, and a movie, and in that one famous actor whose name is Sunny Deol, he has given this famous dialogue, Tariq pe Tariq, Tariq pe Tariq, Tariq pe Tariq, means date after date, date after date, date after date, we are never going to get a judgment. And this dialogue is being discussed by many prominent judges, senior judges of the Supreme Court, and they have shown the concern. For example, if Supreme Court is going to listen your case today, start listening your case today, the probability is, if your case is being registered today in the Supreme Court, it will take another 24 years to solve that matter. So the number of pendency in the Supreme Court today means not today, means tomorrow. If Supreme Court is going to say that, okay, we will not take any case further until unless all existing cases are going to be finished, it will take minimum 24 years to finish all those pending cases. Fine. So pendency of the cases, too much litigation, fine, too much lengthy process, all these things, they urgently require judicial reforms. Fine. Same thing in the police reforms. Many of the police stations still do not have a CCTV cameras. Fine. So police reforms and these reforms, though for other reforms like education reforms, government already have which policy? National Education Policy 2020. But again, that policy is not widely accepted by all the states. And that is why still its implementation is in limbo. Fine. So in this way, we have to concern about certain issues. Understood? So this system, which is the digital criminal system, is going to implement what? It is going to implement an interoperable criminal justice system, so that all the courts can listen, see, and update at the same time. Update at one place, update at every place. Fine. So this is the purpose. Understood? Right? Further, it works on the principle of one data, one entry. It works on the principle of one data, one entry. One data, one entry. Right, one more news. Right. Indian knowledge system. Indian knowledge system heading Indian knowledge system under NEP 2020. Under NEP 2020. Context. Right, context. Chhattisgarh High Court. You can write in short CG. Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh High Court dismissed a petition seeking stay on state order prescribing recital of recital of Saraswati Vandana and other Sanskrit or Hindu prayers in government funded schools. Petitioner argued that it violates equality, freedom of conscience, equality, freedom of conscience, secularism, and minority educational right. However, court treated this petition as premature and state defended the program as cultural education. Under Indian knowledge system. Of NEP 2020. Now write what is Indian knowledge system, IKS, Indian knowledge system, right? NEP 2020 explicitly calls for integrating knowledge of India. Underline this term and put in the inverted commas. Knowledge of India, including traditional, substantial practices and ideas oriented to the welfare of all. It emphasizes that understanding India's heritage and Indian way of doing things, is essential if India want to become a knowledge power. If India want to become a knowledge power in 2020, in 21st century. Now, give us a heading. Content areas under IKS. IKS, right. Number 1, scientific and technical tradition. Number 2, health and wellness. Number 3, language, literature and philosophy. Next, governance, management and law. Next, art, culture and environment. Now see, if you see all those lists, number one says that second, health and wellness. Third, so Saraswati Vandana and other recital of census clothes. In which category they will fit out of these categories? In which category they will fit? Language or art and culture? Language, art and culture or philosophy? So the state government says that what petitioner is talking about Saraswati Vandana, that Saraswati Vandana is not to offer to only God. It is for what purpose? It is for the purpose of education. So the Sanskrit text is not a religious text. It's a philosophical text to idolize a goddess of knowledge, for persuasion of the knowledge, for getting the knowledge, and it is no way pushing a person to go for religious practice of Hinduism. Fine. So this argument was given by the state in the court that the citing of this Saraswati Vandana is not for the purpose of a religious citing. It is for the purpose of putting the students with respect of the knowledge itself. Fine. So considering as a goddess figure. Fine. So this is why people have to cite a Saraswati Vandana and other Sanskrit slokas. So the purpose is not to push to people or the children towards the religion, but to understand India's heritage, culture, how each and every aspect of the human life was related to the practices and how they have evolved over the period of time. So how Sanskrit language talks about the philosophy. Fine. When it is saying that Shanti Part. Fine. So certain texts are not religious in the nature. Their purpose is not religious, though they are being well mentioned in the religious text also. But their objective is not to push a person towards a particular religion, but to promote art, language, culture, and philosophy. So in the name of propagating art, language, culture, and philosophy, schools can go for using of certain practices. Fine, and it should not be put down in the name of ground of violation of secularism. This is an interpretation of whom? State. But here I would like to give you two questions. You can try. Fine. Right. Indian secularism permits engagement with religion but prohibits state identification with a particular faith. Examine. Fine. Examine in the context of recent judgment of Chhattisgarh High Court. For allowing recital of Saraswati Vandana, and other Sanskrit text in government schools. Fine. So, which article is going to be mentioned in this answer? 24, 25, 29, 28, and 30. All these will be used in this answer, and especially 28. Fine. And if you are not going to mention the content of those articles also in the brief, you are not going to get a marks. Doesn't matter how much story you are going to write. If the stories are not going to have a proper, imagine you are writing a story, fine, or you are telling the script of the movie to a person, fine, ki there is an actor who is extraordinary mentally and physically powerful, fine, extraordinary physically and mentally powerful. Now the person need to imagine who can be there, fine, person can be imagined. So he is imagining three people in his mind, but he do not have a clarity, either A or B or C is there. Then again he is going to do this. So entire script, the person is confused. Fine. So this is why one of the finest directors, what they do, they sometimes write the script with having person in the mind. Fine. Have you heard about the iconic movie Sholay? Hindi movie Sholay. Fine. So the director, and especially the script was written and it was shown to Mr. Ramesh Shappi. Fine. So when the script is being told by Javed Akhtar and his friend, when they have submit, so they are like, this is the movie plot. After listening, director has created one character in his mind. This person is going to play the role of whom? Gabbar Singh. He put this thing in the mind. This person is going to play the role of Gabbar Singh. And he decided Amjad Khan. He is going to play the role of Gabbar Singh. And that movie was having one of the biggest name of that time. Sanjeev Kumar, one of the finest but declining. Amitabh Bachchan, one of the finest and inclining. You know that each and every actor of that movie have persuaded Ramesh Sippy to give me the role of whom? Gabbar Singh. Amitabh Bachchan was saying that I can sacrifice anything, but I want this role deliberately. Otherwise, I will leave the movie. So Ramesh Sippy said that, thank you very much. You can leave. But role will be given to whom? Only Amjad Khan. Recent days, Christopher Nolan. if you see his movies, fine. So in batch of his movies, he has picked particular actor and actresses, and he's continuing with those actor and actresses. Why I am telling you this? See, the integration of the right data, fact, analysis with your point is going to make your entire script to be accepted at the highest level. So there is nothing like a prelims and nothing like mains. This is always only what? Mains, increasing all those data, facts, analysis. Sir, how I will be able to recall all this data and facts? The big question now, how I am going to recall all these data facts? You told me that rule number 222 and 187. So if someone is going to ask you tomorrow morning, rule number 222 and rule number 187, can you explain? Tomorrow, can you explain in the morning? If the context will be given, can you tell? If the 4 options are being given and it is going to discuss about what the privileges in the parliament, can you recall? You cannot. But if someone is going to ask you after this classroom, will you be able to recall? Yes. And if you will do that, if someone is going to ask you outside this class about this rule number 222 and rule number 187, you will explain and very well manner. And then the probability of reciting the same information tomorrow is going to increase by 50%. So magic relies here. Fine. Maybe there is a progressive, huge amount of information you are going to process day to day. But the consistent revision is going to consolidate even the larger batch of the information. So trust your ability, trust your skills, and add consistent revision to your skills and ability with the gradual and progressive loading phase, fine, not overloading, loading phase. And remember that there is always an exit route, and I have a clarity in my mind where to stop and where to start. Okay? So plan it in that way, it is going to work. So as I said that I have already sent a detailed PDF for the management to process it by today late evening, like somewhere around 7:30. Might be it is available to your WhatsApp group. Already there? Thank you. So I told them on urgent basis. So how many news in that covered? Or 10? Not 10 here. I think somewhere around 15 will be covered. 20 topics, right? 20 topics is being covered. I have more like 7 to 10 more topics, which I will send you by tomorrow morning. I'll finish it today and I'll send it tomorrow morning. So that will batch complete of the polity news of the last few days. Then I will also send economy and environment. Economy, environment, business related news. So in 2 batches, I will finish, 3 batches, I will finish the entire last 12 days current affairs. So next week, I will take another section. So in that way, I'll provide you the July month current affairs, all the current affairs in 4 or 5 batches. But I want to very clear you, I am not going to have 100 pages kind of a thing. I will give you somewhere around 250 pages, fine, A4 size pages. Digital form is okay. And next month onwards, that will automatically reduce to somewhere around 170 to 180. Then further, it is going to decrease to 100. And by the time of we are going to enter in January, February, March, fine. So it is going to be settled around somewhere around 30 to 40 important news of the month, because we are going to have many of the recurring news. So recurring news will be considered as a old news only. So we are going to have 40 to 45 titles in polity, somewhere around 15 to 20 titles in economy, similarly 10 to 15 titles in the environment. So remember that a fine month current affairs have approximate 40 to 50 titles with polity, governance and constitution, biggest field, fine. Even the magazines, if you see that they will give more weightage to what? Polity, fine. Somewhere around 4 to 5 pages they will give economy. So every month polity have 40 to 50 titles, important titles. And with the rollover, they will only 30. With the rollover, 30. So that data should be in your mind now. It will be much easier for you to summarize the things. Fine. And again, before winding up, again, I will tell you, all of you, buckle up for 2027 attempt. and lock your optional, finish it by the December, so that you can spend at least January and February for the revision your optional and completely switch to test and practice mode for prelims examination. So we do have only one mode till then, February, the mains mode. Fine. In that mains mode, we are going to write and yes, attempt previous year's question. In what mode? Not test mode, practice mode. Practice mode mein likho, as I said that here. What you need to do, write the fine introduction by mentioning, try to mention one data and fact, then go for the body of the answer. Take your time. It's not in hurry. One question in practice mode. See the question, find the topic, read it, then try to write the answer in this way. Wherever you are not getting the point, then search and write. So why? If you will do for past 5 years, you are going to have 100 pages for each subject. If fine notes on previous year's question. Fine, so it is going to work for you as a notes also. And it is very helpful at this time of the mains examination. Because you need each and everything in short and crisp. Fine. So the work done by you today is going to give the rich dividend at the month of July next year. Fine. I want all of you should write the mains examination, fine, and get selected finally. But I will be also not over optimistic. Writing the mains exam itself is going to be a big achievement. Fine. At least the opening of the possibilities. You can understand, you can go for it. So our target should be what? Our target should be clear the prelims examination, mains examination, and finally get selected. But it should be stage wise. Prelims, mains, and most important stage is mains. Mains examination is the most important. Fine. If you are well prepared for the mains with these two process, prelims is not going to create a problem. Okay? Chalo. See you in the next class. Thank you.